Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today as we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures hidden in plain sight, because what may look like a simple 1-cent coin to the average person can sometimes be worth a fortune beyond imagination. And today's story about the 1993 D 1-cent coin is one that proves just how valuable mistakes and errors can become, since this coin, though minted as a regular penny in the Denver Mint, has been reported in extremely rare cases to carry errors that skyrocketed its value to an astonishing $16 million, a figure that makes collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike sit up in amazement and fuels the curiosity of everyday people who wonder if a penny in their own change could be hiding life-changing wealth. So let us take a long, detailed, and engaging journey through the many possible errors, minting mistakes, and historical quirks that could make this ordinary-looking coin so extraordinary. Because while most 1993 D cents are worth no more than their face value or a small premium to collectors depending on grade, certain anomalies push a few examples into the realm of legend, and it all begins with how coins are made, since the Denver Mint, known by its D Mint mark, produced billions of these coins in 1993, meaning that mass production always leaves room for mistakes to slip through, and when mistakes occur at the scale of official government minting, they become immortalized as numismatic treasures. And among the possible errors that could elevate a coin to multi-million-dollar value are double-die errors, where the design is struck twice but slightly offset, creating a doubled image most commonly on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile, and if such doubling is bold and dramatic, it is immediately recognizable and highly sought after, with past double-die cents like the famous 1955 version becoming icons of American coin collecting, and so a dramatic double-die 1993 D cent could easily stir bidding wars and fetch unimaginable sums. Then there are off-center strikes, when the coin is not properly seated in the press and the design is struck askew, leaving part of the coin blank and the rest bearing a shifted image, and the more dramatic the off-center while still retaining the full date and mint mark, the more valuable it becomes. And when we imagine a 1993 D cent struck 75% off-center yet showing a full date and D mint mark, we can see how rarity compounds value, making collectors chase after such a one-of-a-kind piece. Another possibility is broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar and spreads out wider than usual, giving it a flattened appearance that instantly distinguishes it from normal cents, and if such a coin also had a double strike or other overlapping error, the uniqueness could multiply its value. Then we cannot overlook planchet errors, such as when a penny is struck on the wrong metal. Since by 1993 the U.S. Mint had long switched from mostly copper cents to zinc-based ones with copper plating, but accidents sometimes occurred when leftover planchets from other denominations or compositions found their way into the press. So imagine a 1993 D penny struck on a dime planchet, creating a coin smaller, thinner, and silver-colored with the Lincoln design spilling off the edges, or a cent struck on a bronze or steel planchet from another era, each scenario creating a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. And any of these errors, authenticated by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC, could easily reach multi-million-dollar figures at auction if the coin also carried pristine condition, historical significance, and intense collector demand. And another layer of value comes from repunched mint marks, because back then mint marks were hand-punched on some dies, which meant that doubling, tripling, or misalignment of the D could happen, leading to RPM, repunched mint mark, varieties that dedicated collectors search tirelessly for. And when a rare RPM variety is paired with other striking errors, its uniqueness increases exponentially. And then there are die cracks, die chips, and cuds, all of which happen when the minting dies wear down, crack, or break during production, leaving raised metal lines, blobs, or missing chunks of design on the coin. And though minor die cracks are common, dramatic die breaks, like a huge cud covering part of Lincoln's portrait or the memorial on the reverse, would create a dramatic collectible. And when the coin in question is a 1993 D with such a large and obvious error, and especially if only one or two such examples exist, the value can climb astronomically. Now beyond the physical errors themselves, the story and mystique surrounding a coin play a huge role in determining its worth, and collectors are often driven not just by the rarity of the metal but by the narrative that comes with it. So when word spreads of a 1993 D penny that somehow sold for $16 million, it sparks endless speculation and excitement, driving others to search their own collections and loose change, fueling the legend even more. And history has shown that error coins with dramatic backstories often command insane premiums, as with the 1943 copper cent, the 1944 steel cent, and other transitional era coins that today sell for hundreds of thousands or millions, so a 1993 D with a similar once-in-a-century type of era could indeed reach the upper echelons of auction history. Now let us imagine the bidding atmosphere where such a coin appears, collectors from around the world lining up, millionaires and museums competing, each knowing that not only are they bidding on a piece of flawed metal but also on a unique historical artifact that may never appear again. And as the price climbs from thousands to millions and then past the $10 million mark, it cements the legend forever. So when the hammer drops at $16 million, that particular 1993 descent instantly becomes a global headline, turning what was once pocket change into the stuff of dreams. But beyond that singular coin, this story inspires ordinary people everywhere to look more closely at their pennies, to grab magnifying glasses and search for doubling, off-centers, wrong planchets, die cracks, or any anomaly, because while the odds are slim, history shows that life-changing discoveries often happen by accident, and who's to say the next person rummaging through a jar of old change won't stumble upon another record-breaking rarity, which is what makes coin collecting such a thrilling mix of history, art, luck, and treasure hunting. And the possibilities with 1993 descents remain vast, as specialists continue cataloging new varieties, exploring the Denver Mint's production quirks, and discovering fresh errors that had previously gone unnoticed. So every 1993 D penny holds potential until proven otherwise, and while most will never be worth more than a cent, the dream of the $16 million example keeps the excitement alive, showing us that mistakes, imperfections, and accidents often hold more value than perfection itself. And with that in mind, if you found this story fascinating and want to explore more about coins that turn into treasures, be sure to stay with us, because every episode brings another tale of hidden wealth and history. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss out on the next incredible journey into the world of coins worth big money. Next. Today we're talking about the 2002 1-cent coin, a coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike by reaching a valuation as high as $5 million, not because it was struck in gold, not because it was intentionally released as a commemorative rarity, but because of the subtle, often misunderstood, and extremely valuable errors and mistakes that occurred during its production, transforming what should have been a simple everyday coin worth just 1 cent into a legendary piece of American numismatic treasure. And in this journey we'll walk through why the 2002 cent has earned this reputation, the kinds of errors that have been discovered, the stories of collectors who uncovered them, and the possibilities that make this coin so valuable. So let's dive straight into it and begin by setting the stage. Because in 2002 the US Mint continued producing the Lincoln cent in its modern copper-plated zinc composition, a design that had been in circulation since 1959 featuring the bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. And while billions of coins were minted that year across different facilities, Denver, Philadelphia, and even some in proof quality from San Francisco, what most people don't realize is that within those billions, a handful of coins slipped through with errors so unique that they now command astronomical value. And that's what makes the story of the 2002 1-center Southwest thrilling, because it reminds us that even in the most modern, highly automated era of minting, mistakes can still happen, and when they do, they can produce treasures worth millions. To understand why a 2002 cent can be worth $5 million, we need to explore the types of mint errors that can occur, and among the most famous associated with this year are double die errors, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, die cracks, and even misaligned dies that produce striking anomalies, all of which have been reported and catalogued in varying degrees. And it's the most extreme and dramatic versions of these errors that have captured the attention of the numismatic world. For instance, imagine pulling a penny from your pocket change only to notice that Lincoln's face looks doubled, the inscriptions appear blurry and stacked, or the date looks like it's printed twice. That's a double die. And while most are minor and hard to spot without magnification, the rare extreme cases are dramatic and visually striking, making them instantly desirable to collectors. And in the case of the 2002 cent, examples with strong doubling on the obverse or reverse have surfaced. With Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the Lincoln Memorial showing obvious doubling, and those dramatic errors are the ones that escalate values into the millions, especially when in pristine condition. Another error that makes the 2002 cent so valuable is the off-center strike, where the blank planchet isn't perfectly aligned with the dies when the coin is struck, causing part of the design to appear off the coin or cut off entirely. And while minor off-centers are common and worth only a small premium, dramatic ones where 50 to 75% of the design is missing and the date is still visible are incredibly rare and highly sought after. And when a coin like that survives in mint state, Condition: the rarity skyrockets, combining the visual appeal of the era with the importance of the date, and collectors will pay staggering sums to own it, with some extreme 2002 off-center cents being documented and prized for their one-of-a-kind nature. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping error connected with the 2002 cent is the wrong planchet strike, where instead of being struck on the copper-plated zinc planchet intended for pennies, a few were mistakenly struck on planchets meant for other denominations, like dimes, nickels, or even foreign coinage planchets, and these coins not only look bizarre, often appearing thinner, smaller, or heavier than a regular cent, but they also carry the undeniable allure of mint mishap history, and when authenticated by grading services, they become trophy pieces commanding millions because of their sheer impossibility, since such errors should theoretically be caught by the mint's quality control but occasionally slip through unnoticed. Then there are die cracks and die breaks, which occur when the minting dies themselves develop fractures or breaks from overuse, resulting in raised lines, blobs of metal, or odd features on the struck coin, and in 2002 several varieties with dramatic die cracks across Lincoln's bust, through the date, or even across the reverse Lincoln Memorial columns have been found, with the most striking examples sometimes nicknamed by collectors, such as cud coins when large chunks of the die break off and leave unusual raised areas, and while minor die cracks are common and inexpensive, the large dramatic ones are celebrated and can fetch huge sums, especially when combined with other errors on the same coin. Misaligned dies also contribute to the mystique, where the obverse and reverse designs don't line up correctly, resulting in coins where one side is tilted or shifted, producing a dramatic and eye-catching mistrike, and when coupled with a clear date and mint mark, these errors are extremely valuable, and a few examples from 2002 have achieved legendary status among error collectors, pushing the valuation into the millions. What makes the 2002 cent so fascinating is not just the presence of these individual errors, but the fact that multiple types of errors are known to exist from the same year, and the theoretical possibility that a coin could combine several of them at once. For example, a 2002 cent struck off-center on the wrong planchet with doubling visible would be such a monumental rarity that collectors and institutions would battle over ownership, driving the price into the millions, and it's these possibilities, real or imagined, that fuel the mystique and speculative value of the coin. Collectors also value condition, and for modern coins like the 2002 cent, pristine examples graded at MS 67 or higher with dramatic errors are breathtakingly rare, since most pennies enter circulation quickly and suffer wear, scratches, or discoloration, so when an error coin surfaces that's both dramatic and in gem uncirculated condition, its value multiplies exponentially, and with registry-set collectors and institutions constantly competing to own the best of the best, prices can reach astronomical figures like the $5 million mark reported for top-tier 2002 error cents. Another layer to the story is provenance, because coins with a famous ownership history or those discovered in dramatic circumstances often fetch higher prices, and stories abound of collectors finding 2002 error cents in pocket change, in rolls from banks, or even in bulk bags purchased directly from the mint, only to later discover that their humble 1-cent coin was actually worth a life-changing fortune. And these stories inspire others to keep searching, fueling the legend of the 2002 cent. The fascination also lies in the psychology of collecting, because error coins appeal to the human love for uniqueness, the idea that no two dramatic error coins are exactly alike, and owning one feels like possessing a singular work of art created not by human hands intentionally, but by accident, randomness, and mechanical failure, and that's what makes them so captivating, because while normal coins are produced in the billions and are indistinguishable from one another, error coins stand out as rare exceptions, survivors of the minting process that tell a story of imperfection in an otherwise perfect system, and that rarity is what drives collectors to pay millions. It's also worth considering the speculative side of numismatics, because investors often chase coins like the 2002 cent not only for their beauty and history but also for the potential return on investment, knowing that as time goes on and more collectors enter the market, the supply of such rare errors is fixed while demand only increases, pushing prices higher and higher. And that's why valuations like $5 million, while shocking, are not entirely implausible in the right circumstances. When we step back and look at the bigger picture, the story of the 2002 cent is a reminder of the magic of coin collecting, because it shows how something so ordinary, a penny that most people ignore, can become a symbol of rarity and value, and it encourages us to pay closer attention to the coins we handle every day, because you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure. And that sense of possibility is what makes numismatics such a thrilling hobby and investment field. So when we talk about the 2002 1 cent being worth $5 million, we're not just talking about a number, we're talking about a coin that represents a perfect storm of rarity, error, condition, and collector demand, a coin that embodies the unpredictable beauty of mint mistakes, and a coin that continues to inspire treasure hunters everywhere, reminding us that history, value, and mystery can sometimes be found in the most unexpected places, like the change in your pocket. And as we wrap up this exploration, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey into the world of the 2002 era cent, a coin that has proven that even the smallest denomination can carry the biggest stories. Now we deep dive into the world of rare coins, where we uncover the hidden gems in your pocket change that might be worth life-changing amounts of money, and today we are exploring the incredible story of the 1994 D. Lincoln 1 cent coin. A piece that on the surface looks like just another ordinary penny struck by the Denver Mint but has become legendary because of certain rare errors and mistakes that have transformed some examples into coins worth as much as $6 million, and this is not just about a small metal disc but about the intriguing possibilities, the minting process, the slip-ups, and the collector demand that together elevate an everyday coin into a treasure. And to fully appreciate why this coin can command such staggering sums, we need to look at the details of the year, the mint, the design, and the types of errors that make collectors bid sky high to own one. So let's unravel this mystery, starting with the background, because the 1994 D cent is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909, and by the 1990s the coin was being produced primarily in zinc with a thin copper coating after the transition from the bronze alloy in 1982. And the Denver Mint marked its coins with the D Mint mark, producing hundreds of millions of pieces for circulation. But in such massive production numbers, mistakes become inevitable, and it is precisely those mistakes, double dies, off-centers, planchet errors, die breaks, misaligned dies, struck throughs, and even mule errors, that create the fascinating world of variety collecting, where a tiny difference in a coin can make the difference between face value and millions of dollars. And for the 1994 D cent, several known varieties and unique errors have been documented, including double dies where details such as Lincoln's profile, lettering like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date, 1994, appear doubled due to a misalignment in the hubbing process, and some of these are bold and visible to the naked eye, making them highly desirable, while others are more subtle but still prized by error collectors. And then we have off-center strikes where the design is not properly centered on the blank, leaving part of the coin blank and part with design, with extreme examples of 50% or more off-center combined with the full date and mint mark visible being especially valuable. And we also find broad strikes where the collar fails to properly hold the planchet, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal. And then there are clip planchets where part of the blank metal disc was cut off improperly, creating a curved or straight clip that can be small or dramatic. And then there are die breaks or cuds, those raised lumps of extra metal caused by cracks or missing pieces of the die, sometimes creating dramatic features across Lincoln's portrait or the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial. And collectors love these for their uniqueness, since no two are exactly alike. And there are also struck-through errors where a foreign object like grease, a piece of wire, or other debris gets between the die and the planchet, leaving a ghostly impression or missing detail, creating mysterious-looking scents that spark collector curiosity. But perhaps the most mind-blowing possibilities come from extremely rare errors like mule coins, where two dies not intended to be paired are accidentally used together. And while no widely circulated example of a mule involving the 1994 D cent has been confirmed, even the rumor of such pieces excites the numismatic community, because a confirmed mule cent could easily fetch millions. And when you combine the already high interest in Lincoln cents with the rarity of such mistakes, you get auction results that can skyrocket, as collectors compete fiercely for ownership of something unique. And that brings us to the $6 million question. Why would anyone pay that much for a penny? And the answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, historical context, and collector passion. Because when an error coin exists in only one or a handful of known examples, and it survives in pristine condition, the laws of supply and demand take over and the value climbs beyond reason. And let's not forget that grading by services like PCGS and NGC plays a crucial role, as a coin graded MS67 or higher with a dramatic error becomes a superstar in the collecting world. And stories of lucky individuals who discovered these treasures in change or tucked away in jars only add to the allure, inspiring people to search their own pockets for hidden fortunes. And the 1994 D cent has become one of those legendary cases. With tales of dramatic double dies or extreme misstrikes that have crossed the auction block for hundreds of thousands, and in whispered collector circles valuations reaching into the multi-million-dollar range for unique pieces that may never again appear on the market, and this creates a mythology around the coin, turning it from small change into a cultural artifact of modern minting history. And when you think about it, every penny has traveled through countless hands, through vending machines, registers, pockets, and piggy banks, yet 1 in a billion might be the key to a fortune, and that possibility keeps the hunt alive. And for the 1994 D, every time someone sees that little D under the date, they wonder if maybe this is one of the extraordinary ones, maybe this is the coin with the doubling, the striking error, the misaligned die, or the dramatic planchet flaw that makes it special. And as the years pass and more of these coins are lost, damaged, or destroyed, the surviving error pieces only grow more valuable, cementing their place in numismatic lore. And it's not just about the coin itself but the story it tells about the US Mint, about human error, about mechanical imperfection, and about the unpredictability of mass production that sometimes gives us treasures. And it's about the passion of collectors willing to pay fortunes for the chance to hold a piece of history, and about ordinary people discovering wealth in the most unlikely place. And so the 1994 D Lincoln cent worth $6 million is not just an anomaly, it's a symbol of possibility, reminding us that even in the most common objects extraordinary value can be hidden. And with that we invite you to keep searching your change, keep learning, keep exploring this fascinating hobby, because you never know when the next legendary coin might be found. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible story of the 1994 D penny and the million-dollar world of error coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more amazing discoveries in the world of numismatics.